So let's convert here, negative 450, I'm going to maybe write it here, negative 450 degrees. I want to get rid of degrees, so I'll put them on the bottom. I'll put the 180 there and the pi. Degrees cancel out. Then on top I've got negative 450 times pi, which is a negative 450 pi, and the denominator just has 180. Now those can be divided by, I guess, 90? I know both of them can do 90. And so this would get me a negative 5, and there's a pi, and here will get me a 2. So negative 5 pi over 2 radians, though we do not write the radians. Now this is very strange looking, pi degrees, but it doesn't really matter. I want to get rid of degrees, so I'll put degrees on the bottom. And I'll put a 180 there, and I put a pi up here. It's always pi and 180. The degrees have to go with the degree symbol. So 180 goes with the degrees, and the symbols can cancel out. Now the numerators, pi times pi is pi squared over 180. And remember, this is radians. We don't normally write it, but I'm just doing it because this looks a little strange. It's pi squared over 180 radians. Now you could put that in a calculator if you wanted to know what that was a little bit more for an approximation, but you don't actually need to because we haven't really done it for any of these anyways. So just leave it like that. Again, no need to write the radian symbol. Okay, so pi over 2, and here's the degrees, and so you want to get rid of degrees. I'll put that on the bottom with 180 and put the pi up top. Those can cancel. So pi times pi is going to be pi squared, and 2 times 180 is 360. So you have pi squared over 360 radians, and you don't need to write the radians. And lastly, let's do 180 over pi degrees. So I want to get rid of degrees, so I'll put it on the bottom with the 180, put the pi up here. So the degree symbols can now cancel out. I always like to show that if possible. And then I get, on the top, 180 times pi is 180 pi. On the bottom, pi times 180 is 180 pi, and that's just 1. Anything over itself is just 1. So I am left with 1 radian. Well, I didn't even want to do plural, 1 radian. And again, you don't need to write the radian at all. So I'm going to zoom out for you to take a look at these, at these 8 actually, even though we only did the 4. And we're going to continue on here. We want to work backwards. So we want to get degrees. So we have pi over 2, and we want to get to degrees. So I want the degrees on top because I want to get them. So that's where the 180 will go, and that's where the pi will go in the denominator. So on the top, you can have 180 pi degrees, and then 2 pi on the denominator. Now the pi's can cancel out, and 180 over 2 is 90. So the pi's can cancel out, and that can become a 90, and the degree symbol is still there, so we have 90 degrees. And we always will write the degree symbol. There is no radian symbol. They just wrote the word radians and then just dropped the word completely. But we always need to write the degree symbol. So let's take pi over 4, and I want degrees. So I'll put that up on the top with the 180 and the pi down here. So on top I have 180 pi degrees, and then 4 pi on the bottom. The pi's can cancel out. 180 over 4 is 45, and then we still have that degree symbol. Okay, let's continue on here with pi over 6. And I want to get to degrees, so I'm going to put the degree symbol with the 180, and then the pi will be on the bottom. By the way, you could probably start seeing that you can just cancel these out right here if you wanted to. If there's one on top and one on bottom, you're more than welcome to do that. So I've got 180 pi over 6 pi, and then there's a degree symbol. So then again, the pi's cancel, and then 180 over 6 will be 30, and there's the degrees. So pi over 6 is the same thing as 30 degrees. All right, negative pi. So I want to put it to degrees. So this is a numerator. There is no denominator. You can put a 1 if you want, but I want degrees, so they're going to go on top, and then there's a pi on the bottom. So again, that 1 doesn't have to be there, but it's kind of nice for just spacing things for your fractions here. So on the top, I'm going to have a negative 180 pi, and then a degree symbol on the bottom, just a pi. And the pi's can cancel, leaving me with negative 180 degrees. So I'll zoom out here for these 4, and then I'll go right on to the next ones. So if you need to pause it, you can. But I mean, I guess the PDF of this thing completed, assuming there's no mistakes in it, should already be uploaded, and you can take a look at that. All right, so 7 pi over 2. And I want degrees, I'll put it on top. So that's where the 180 will go, and the pi will go on the bottom. And then, 7 times 180. So you can go 180 times 7. So 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 8 is 56. 7 plus 5 is 12. So that is, I guess, 1260, and then the pi symbol, degrees, on the bottom is just a 2 pi. So the pi's can cancel, and 1260 can be then just cut in half to get 630, and there's the degrees. So a little bit more in terms of, I didn't know what my 180 times tables were, but it's still relatively simple in terms of like the math that's going on there. So I need to get to degrees, so I'll put degrees on top, and 180 over pi. So 2 times 180 is 360, plus the pi, plus the degree symbol, 7, and pi. So I can subtract or cancel out the pi's, and then 360 and 7 can't be reduced at all. So I have, I'll write down here actually, 360 over 7 degrees. So it's a fraction. I mean, that, we're so used to degrees. I mean, that is approximately 51.4 degrees if you wanted to do approximations. But I want at least an exact answer here as well. Okay, almost done here. So 2 over pi. So I want degrees. The degrees will go on top with the 180, and the pi will go on the bottom. So on top is going to be 2 times 180 is 360. On the bottom is pi squared degrees. Now I don't know what that is. Pi squared is pi times pi. So 360 divided by pi, and then one more time. Apparently it's around approximately 36.5, that's just rounded, degrees. That's what that would be. But again, I like the exact answer of 360 over pi squared. Lastly, I have 180, I guess, radians, and I want to get to degrees. I put the degrees on top with 180, and then pi. So then you have to go 180 times 180, which I have no idea what that is. So that's all be zeros, and then 8 times 0 is 0, 8 times 8, 64, and then 14. And then with the ones, so I get a 0, 8, 1. So 0, 0, 4, 12, 3. I guess we'll just double check that. Yeah, 32,400, okay. So that is 32,400 degrees over pi. So 32,400 over pi degrees. That's so weird. So that's approximately 10,313 degrees. So I'll zoom out here for you to pause if you need to and write anything down. But now we're going to go into something a little bit different.